makers of Geritol, the remarkable fast-acting high-potency tonic that helps you feel stronger fast, and Geritol Jr., the wonderful new blood-building tonic made especially for growing children, present Jack Barry's Juvenile Jury. Now, here's our host for another spontaneous session of Juvenile Jury, Jack Barry.
Thank you very much, and a very cordial welcome to Juvenile Jury, the program where 5 average youngsters try to solve the problems you at home have been nice enough to send to them. I'd like you to meet the kids on this week's show. Their ages range from 5 to 9.5. Here is Laura Diane Mangles. How old are you, Laura?
8.5.
And there's Ronnie Maluzzo. How old are you, Ronnie?
I'm 9.
On the bottom row, Douglas Stewart. How old are you, Doug?
5.
Well, don't be so upset about it. In the center, Carol McDonald. How old are you, Carol?
5.
And last but not least, Stevie Goldberg. How old are you, Stevie?
5.
Thank you. Nice to have you all with us on Juvenile Jury. All right, kids. Once again, it's our pleasure to try to solve the problems the folks at home have been nice enough to send to us. And remember, if you send us a problem, which we use, you'll get a lovely gift from us of the famous Polaroid Land camera. It's the camera that develops its own picture in just 60 seconds. All you do is snap the shutter, and 1 minute later, you lift a sparkling black and white print from the back of the camera. Here's the first problem, kids. Came from a Mrs. L.H. of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She'll get a Polaroid Land camera. She writes and says, I bought my son an accordion, but now he doesn't want to take lessons because he says he might get his stomach caught in it. How can I convince my son that he's wrong? Carol?
Well, really, he won't get his stomach caught in it. That's because he keeps it by his body. The stomach is all the way down further.
I'm glad you told me where the stomach is. Stevie?
Well, I think that he should try to learn accordion lessons. Then he'll be smart to play when a wedding is on. Then he can be part of the band. That's what I think.
He can play at weddings?
Yeah.
This is very nice. All right, Steve. One of the twin cantors, no doubt. Douglas?
Well, as being an accordion player myself...
You're an accordion player?
Yeah, I play accordion.
Well, no wonder he has hardly any stomach. I didn't know that, Doug.
When you play an accordion, it don't squeeze your stomach. You know why?
No.
It's that much further away from your stomach.
Oh. Doesn't squeeze your stomach at all?
No, you play it like this, but you pull it back like this when you want to pull it out. You don't pull it like this. You pull it like this.
Well, the way you play it, you mightn't squeeze your stomach, but you'll have to bust open your chest.
Well,
What do you think? What do you think, Ronnie?
Well, I think that if the child has some feeling against it, I think that it wouldn't be because of getting his stomach in. I don't think that he would like to take the accordion lessons. So if I was the mother, I would ask him and let him have his own judgment. Do you want to take accordion lessons? And if he said yes, I'm sure that he wouldn't worry about his stomach getting caught in it. But if he says no, I would not let him have the accordion. I'd hock it someplace.
Do you often hock things, Ronnie?
No, well, I'm just saying it's the way to get rid of it. I mean, it's...
Well, I wanted to recommend a pawnbroker I know very well. Laura?
Well, if he thinks that he is going to get his stomach caught, he might just be thinking that because he sees it open and close all the time. But when you're playing the accordion, there's skill to it, and the way you play it, I think there's a way to prevent that.
Sure there is. That's absolutely right, Laura. There's a very good way to prevent it, and I'm sure if this boy consults his teacher, she'll show him the way. And as Ronnie says, if he has the desire to play the accordion, I'm sure he'll learn the right way, and he won't have to worry about his stomach getting caught at all. Well, now, friends, if any of you are feeling weak and run down, especially after a cold, sore throat, or the flu, check with your doctor, will you? And remember that your weak, run-down condition may come from undernourished blood. Now, doctors call it iron deficiency anemia. We call it tired blood. To feel stronger, fast, take Geritol, the fast-acting, high-potency tonic that begins to strengthen tired blood in just 24 hours. Just 2 tablespoons of Geritol, just this little bit right here, contains twice the iron in a pound of calf's liver. And it tastes good, too. You'll like it. Now, I'd like to read you a letter that I received from Mrs. E.E.P. of Vallejo, California. She obviously had tired blood and feels so much better now after taking Geritol, the remarkable fast-acting high-potency tonic. She wrote and said, "Dear Mr. Barry, my husband and I have been taking Geritol, and it's just priceless. I buy the large economy size because we both take it. People ask me where I get all my get-up-and-go, so I tell them to try Geritol. It's really the best." So, friends, remember that letter, and remember, too, if you're feeling weak and run down because of tired blood, especially after a cold, sore throat, or the flu, get Geritol, liquid or tablets, at your drugstore. You'll feel stronger fast within 7 days or your money back. And to save $1, buy the large economy size. But just be sure that you get what you ask for. It's Geritol, Geritol. Believe me, you will feel stronger fast. And now a word to you parents about the new fast-acting build-up tonic for growing children, Geritol Jr. You'll find that Geritol Jr. is just as effective for your children as the regular Geritol is for you. Well, I'd like to introduce our first in-person guest. Our guest this week is a man who is the star of his own show for Geritol on the CBS television network every Tuesday night. You must have all seen him last night on the Jackie Gleason Show. You'll see him tonight on Ed Sullivan's Toast to the Town. But right now it's a pleasure to have him here on Juvenile Jury, Geritol's own friend and our friend, one of the most loyal friends Juvenile Jury has ever had, Red Skelton, ladies and gentlemen. Red, come on down our side. Red, we're a pleasure to have you with us here on Juvenile Jury.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, the mean little kid. Red, we understand you have a problem you'd like the kids to solve.
Yes, I am a spaghetti shipper.
A what?
A spaghetti shipper. I like to take a long string of spaghetti and ship it, and let it smack me on both sides of the face, And the red sauce make me look like I'm smiling all the time, you see. And the only trouble, people always play tricks on me, like that's how I lost my front tooth. I shipped the spaghetti and somebody tied a knot in it.
Well, I must say it's an unusual problem.
Yes, it is. No, truthfully, Jack, I do have a problem, and I think Juvenile Jury can solve it for
Would you
me.
like to come on down here and talk about it with us?
I think it would. I feel like I'm getting ready for the sound general quarters here,
It's very well.
Now, first of all, I think I should be able to mention my sponsor for allowing me to come on the show,
Well, sure. Who's your sponsor?
Geritol.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Now that you've mentioned the sponsor, how about a problem?
A problem. My problem is that my little boy, Richard, and my little girl, Valentina, is giving Georgia, my wife, quite a problem, and me a problem. When they go to school, they do things around the school, and then when the teacher reprimands them, they say, well, my dad does this on television, so why can't we do it? So this is my problem.
A good problem it is, and it's something that happens, I bet, in millions of homes.
Oh.
Not exactly the way it does in yours. When they see Daddy do something, they want to know why they can't do it, and so your kids are faced with the problem doubly. Well, how about that, kids? Let's help Red Skelton with this. Any questions you want to ask him? Ronnie?
I'd like to ask Red Buttons.
Red Skelton!
I have news for you. This boy has possibilities of developing into a total stranger.
I'd like to introduce you to formally. This is Mr. Maluzzo, Mr. Skelton.
How are you,
And I know he was just ribbing you.
I know, sure.
Ronnie?
I'd like to ask, what do they do that's the teacher doesn't like in the school? What do they do that's so
Well,
obstructive?
like someone on my show might actually, as in clowning, like last week we hit each other with clubs and stuff. Well, they don't hit each other with clubs, but I mean they walk up and they clown in front of the other kids, and they stand there, and Valentina has a very bad habit of going, all the time, and things like that, and that is what the teachers object to.
Do your children ever try to imitate what you do with the little seagull friend of yours?
Oh, yeah, the seagulls, and that's what they do. The school that they go to is so crowded, with kids, that they knock the other kids out of their seats.
Yes, Carol?
Well, I think that they really shouldn't do that. If they want to do that, why don't they go home and do it?
Well, they do it at home, too, but you see, they say they see me do it on television, and then it's all right for them to do it.
Well, what teachers should do is ignore them.
Ignore them? I'm with you.
Douglas?
Well, why don't you explain to your kids not to do it? Because someday they might get in trouble on doing it, and they might get yelled at.
You mean with the censors?
They might get batted over the head with a club.
Oh.
Well, Doug, the reason it's hard for Red Skelton to explain it to his youngsters is that he does it every week on television for Geritol every Tuesday night, and they see him and they say, why can't we do the things that Dad does? What do you think about this, Stevie?
Well, I'd like to ask Red Button.
Red Skelton.
How do you like that? Already a new Milton Berle. He's stealing the other guy's lines.
Did you want to ask a question, Stevie?
Yes. Well, why did they want to imitate you?
You were better off the first way.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Maybe they heard the sponsor talking in the living room one night. And they figure I'm on my way out, so they may want to protect the family later on. I really don't know. I guess maybe it's like father, like son, and like mother, and like daughter.
I tell you why, Stevie, if I may, because Red's probably too modest to say it, because his daddy is a very famous man. Their daddy is a very famous man and one of the best comedians the world has ever known, and they probably look up to him. And if you had to pay the kind of taxes he does, you'd look up to him, too.
One of the best comedians in the low-price field.
Laura, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
No.
No question. Carol, you had your hand up.
I forgot what I was going to say.
You did? All right. Well, relax a second. Some more things will come to you. What do you think now, kids? What about this? Should Red Skelton's youngsters do these things, or what can he do to stop them?
Ronnie. I think
Ronnie?
Ronnie. Yeah,
You like
I
him,
think
huh?
Laura could, too.
Laura, too. Go ahead, Laura.
Well, I think you should sit down and explain to them why they shouldn't and what they might not know it, but while they're doing it wrong. They might want to do it just to say, well, isn't this funny? My father does this on television, And, well, they might not know it, but they're doing it wrong, so I think you should explain to them what they're doing wrong.
All right. Idea. Ronnie?
Well, I would sit down and explain to them that he's only doing it for a living and not to imitate it in school.
Well, thank you very much. I'm just as confused now as I was.
We're not finished. We've got 3 to go.
Oh,
Douglas
good.
Stewart. How do you like that new haircut Douglas has got, Red?
Oh, that's very nice. Mm.
Got
I
it
used
from
to cut
China.
my...
Got it from China.
You got it from China? Imported? Isn't that nice? You remember they used to put bowls around your hair and give you a haircut? They used to use a funnel with me,
Doug, did you have some advice for Red Skelton?
Well, as I was saying before...
But wait a while, Doug. Before what?
Why don't Red sit down and explain to his children that, well, it's not right to do it at all.
Well, then supposing they tell me that it's not right for me to do it.
Well, then...
I go to school and let them make the living?
No, you should
Let's see what Carol has to
do. You know what
say.
you should do?
What? Go ahead, Doug.
Change channels on your television, and then when they try to turn you on, they'll be turned to a different channel.
You know, I've been fighting with about 30 million people that same thing all season. You see, there's another comedian opposite me, Milton Berle.
Oh, yes, I've heard of him. Well, I don't think that CBS would like it very much if Red's own children didn't watch him, Doug. Almost everybody else does. No reason why his children shouldn't. Carol?
Well, I saw you yesterday on television.
You did?
I did too.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, what about
I did too.
Well, thank you.
It was funny. It was funny when the policeman thought you stole the money.
Oh,
Hey,
you like that, huh?
Red,
I got news for you. He did steal the money.
I did, yeah.
Red,
Yeah.
you really did it. When we go off the air, would you, have a little bit of funniness for me,
Have a little what?
I mean, have a
something
little
funny
bit
for
of
you?
jokes like being Clem Cadiddlehopper.
All right, I'll be Clem, and I'll do Clem Cadiddlehopper playing with a feather. This is Clem, now you're gonna like. Did I get Senator McCarthy's attention there?
Oh, Ronnie, that's you.
Now this is Clem playing with a feather.
Red. Thank you, Red. We didn't really mean to get you into any work today at all.
There's no work.
You got to work
It's fine.
tonight on the Ed Sullivan Show, and while you're here, I want to say on behalf of the kids and myself, not only do we thank you for coming on down here, but for the 7 years of constant plugging you've done for Juvenile Jury. We all do appreciate it very much. Red Skelton, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Red. Now, for those of you who have been advised by a doctor to lose weight, here's some very important information.
What's the best way to reduce? Leaving the table with a full stomach or an empty one? Empty stomach? Wrong. A half-empty stomach causes hunger tantrums. Now, with the RDX plan, you fill your stomach, lose weight naturally and fast. The RDX plan helps you cut down your craving for fattening foods. You lose as many pounds as you wish, or money back. RDX tablets are safe, contain no dangerous drugs. Get RDX today.
And I do want to remind you once again to watch Red Skelton every Tuesday night on CBS, sponsored by Geritol and Geritol Jr. You'll never laugh so much. Here's a problem sent to us by a Mr. T.W. of Buffalo, New York, who'll receive a Polaroid land camera, the camera that develops its own picture in just 60 seconds. It's one of those imagination problems, kids. We ask you to use your imagination. He wants to know, why is grass green? I mean, why isn't it different colors? Why is grass always green? Stevie?
Please explain what this means. I'm not familiar with this word.
Well, you know what grass is, don't you?
I know.
And you know what color grass is.
Oh, I don't know what colored grass is.
What color is this on this table here, Stevie? Right here.
Green.
That's what I thought, yeah. Now, grass is that color, too. Why is grass this color?
Because something that's green could make something that's green, and something that's green can make something that's green. And that's what I think.
Well, I heard it the same as you did, but I don't know what it means. What do you think, Laura?
I think it's green because, as you notice, all plants, the stems, most of them, are green.
Yeah,
and
but
that's
why?
because it has chlorophyll in it.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll see. We'll see if the other kids think that's right. Douglas, why do you think grass is green?
Well, suppose there's some kind of a dye on it.
A dye on it? What do you think, Carol?
Well, really, that's the way God put it on the world. That's because he could do stuff that people can't do.
I see. So God made it. Is your explanation
Well, I think that Laura is right because there is chlorophyll in the plants, and the plants, of course, are green because chlorophyll is green. It's like the toothpaste that you have. It's green, and do you ever brush your teeth with chlorophyll toothpaste? That's what they use.
Might as well brush it with grass, huh?
No, well, you have to extract the chlorophyll from the plant
Oh,
itself.
I see. Well, you're right, and Laura is right. As far as we know, the grass contains chlorophyll, just like the toothpaste ads say. And the plants which are more green than others simply contain more chlorophyll than the others, and that's why grass is green. It's as simple as that. Now, friends, you know, here on this program, we try to solve some problems, and sometimes we're successful and sometimes we're not. I don't know how successful we were with Red Skelton's problem, which I'm sure isn't too much of a problem anyway. But if your problem has been that weak and run-down feeling, here's a friend of ours that always has the sure answer to your problem. So, folks, please remember, if you've been feeling weak and run down, particularly after a cold, sore throat, or the flu, you may be suffering from iron deficiency anemia, which we call tired blood. Now, to feel stronger fast, take Geritol, the high-potency tonic that begins to strengthen iron-poor tired blood in just 24 hours. So get Geritol, Geritol, at your drugstore today. You'll feel stronger fast, within 7 days, or your money back. And parents, a word to you very important about the fast-acting bodybuilding tonic for your growing children, Geritol Jr. You will find that Geritol Jr. is just as effective for your children as the regular Geritol is for you. Now I'd like you to meet one of our regular in-person guests, a young lady from the Bronx, New York. She's about 4 years old. Her name is Lena Blechman. Lena, come on out, will you? Hi, Lena. Come on over here and tell the kids what your problem is.
I like to do real things. I like to use my mother's pots and pans. I have a lot of pots and pans.
You like to use your mother's pots and pans to do the cooking?
Yes.
And she doesn't want to let you do that?
No.
Oh, dear. Well, let's ask some questions here. Kids, Ronnie?
Why doesn't she like you to do that? Do you dirty up the whole kitchen and spill everything?
Why won't she let you?
Because I like to do it in my room and keep it warm and keep it nice and neat, and she doesn't let me. She thinks I'll make it be messy.
Oh, she thinks you'll mess things up, huh? All right, Laura?
Does your mother have any objections about your cooking, maybe?
No.
She likes you to cook. What do you want to be when you get older, Lena?
A doctor.
A doctor?
Yes.
Why do you want to be a doctor?
To help all the bad people.
To help the bad people?
Yes.
Good people get sick, too.
I'll help them.
Oh, you'll help them, too. Suppose I had a headache. What would you do for me if you were a doctor?
Fix you up.
How would you fix me up? Suppose I had a stomach ache. What would you do?
Fix you up.
You'd fix me up no matter what was the matter, huh? All right. Let's get back to this question of cooking. Carol, her mother wouldn't let her use the pots and pans.
Well, I think that she should wait until she grows up. Then you'll be old enough to... You'll really be able to do your own cooking and your own scrubbing and you'll be able to eat your own food.
All right. Stevie?
Well, I think that... Well, how old are you?
How old are you, Lena?
4.
4.
Well, I think that you shouldn't be able to cook if you're 4, because you'll have to eat water for supper. That's what I think.
Tell me, Lena, what kind of things do you like to cook? What do you like to cook?
Real things.
Real things like what?
Like eggs and soup and cake.
Eggs and soup and cake. Where'd you learn how to cook?
I learned all the big things when I was a baby while I was growing.
You learned these things when you were a baby?
Yes.
What kind of a baby were you?
A real.
A what?
A real baby.
A real baby, yes. All right, kids, let's take a rundown. Should she be allowed to cook with her mother's pots and pans or not? Laura?
Well, I think that your mother doesn't want you to use the pots and pans because you might chip them or something, and then she might not be able to use them. You might ruin them. And also, she doesn't want you to cook because you'll burn yourself. So if you wait till you're around, 7 or 8 years old, I'm sure your mother will be willing to let you help with the cooking.
All right. Ronnie?
Well, I think that your mother could supervise while you're cooking and make sure that you don't chip the pots and pans, as Laura said. Or else, if she doesn't have the time, she can go to a toy department, and they usually have these little kits with you make muffins and pies, cake mix, instant mixes with the cakes, and the chocolate pudding in this place, and you have your own pots and pans and your spoons and your forks.
Very good.
And you don't have to worry about your mother's.
Okay, good. Doug Stewart?
Well, I'd say you do it this way. My sister, she has a big making kit. She baked cakes, cupcakes, biscuits in it. And she let me do it, too. So I'd suggest that you go to a store and buy this kit for her, and then she could bake all she wants, and she don't have to use her mother's pots
Very
and
good,
pans,
Doug.
because there's
That's-
pots and pans and everything in there.
That's fine, Doug. That's a good suggestion. I don't think we have to even hear anymore. You try to get one of those kind of the things that Doug was talking about, and I think your whole problem will be solved. Thank you very much for being with us, Lena Blechman. You've been a nice guest. Goodbye. Well, that just about wraps us up for this week's session of Juvenile Jury. I would like to remind you once again that before we leave, that you can see Red Skelton every Tuesday night on television for Geritol, and also you can watch Life Begins at 80. Consult your local program listings for time and station. Oh, I want to tell you about the Journal of Living, a magazine for people over 35, in which we write our Life Begins at 80 column. It's a fine magazine. You'll find a lot of interesting things in it, and it's on sale right now at your newsstand. Pick a copy of it up, won't you? The Journal of Living, now on sale at your newsstand, a wonderful magazine for all of you people over 35. We'll be seeing you next week, we hope, with more fun and excitement for you. We hope you enjoyed today's program. Our special thanks to Red Skelton for being with us. Until next week at the same time, then, goodbye and good luck from Laura Diane Mangles,
Bye.
Ronnie Maluzzo,
So long.
Douglas Stewart,
Bye.
Carol McDonald,
Bye, Nanny.
Stevie Goldberg,
So long, folks.
and, of course, for me, Jack Barry, with this closing thought. Out of the mouths of babes, oft times come gems. See you next week, everybody. Bye.
Folks, if you're over 35 and bothered by irregularity, remember this. Today, 8 out of 10 doctors recommend a principle like Seratan for people over 35. Why? Because doctors know that ordinary laxatives like pills, salts, or oils often have a harmful, irritating effect. But Seratan is different. Seratan encourages your system to function in a normal way, puts back into your diet vegetable hydrogel, an important laxative ingredient which nature puts in many fruits and vegetables. Yes, Seratan is vegetable hydrogel in highly concentrated form. So if you're over 35 and if your system has begun to slow down as it usually does in the middle years, check with your doctor and try Seratan. In just 3 days, I promise you, you'll begin to know the satisfaction of daily regularity once again, or double your money back. So get Seratan in powder or granular form at your drugstore. And remember what I told you, that 8 out of 10 doctors recommend a principle like Seratan. And Seratan is so easy to remember because when you read Seratan backwards, it spells nature's. Tune in again next week at this same time when the makers of Geritol, the remarkable fast-acting high-potency tonic that helps you feel stronger fast, and Geritol Jr., the wonderful new blood-building tonic made especially for growing children, again present Jack Barry's Juvenile Jury.